Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I just did a full face of Tom Ford beauty products. If you want to see how to get this ultra glam, ultra glowy, sultry look using mainly Tom Ford beauty, then keep watching. All right, skin is already prepped, except we're gonna be adding a primer to the top of what I have on. So on top of my sunscreen and my regular skin prep that I use daily, I'll be using the Tom Ford Traceless Soft Matte Primer. Didn't know it existed until now, and so we're gonna be trying it out and popping this supposed Traceless Soft Matte Primer to the top of my skin. Let's try it with about this much and see where this takes us. This actually feels nice. So it's funny, it feels like it's gonna be pretty thin in texture when you pump it out, and then it dries down very quick. So I could see where this is gonna be mattifying. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be mattifying. I'm watching it dry on my skin as I'm talking. It definitely smoothed my skin, that's for sure. Okay, a little tip that I just learned, less is more, which I know better with all primers. Less is more is always the case. I think I got a little excited because I've been looking forward to doing this video for a long time now, and I am so happy to finally be sitting here filming it. Okay, yeah, less is more. There's a lot left over that is dried on my hand. I'm gonna wipe it on my towel next to me. Now let's get into some more products. Now, if you're wondering why my eyebrows look horrible, it's because I barely filled them in. I brushed them up a little bit, and the rest is history, and I'm feeling a little self-conscious to say the least. So we're going to start with the Brow Sculptor. I have the shade 04 Espresso. This is what I picked out, and also I was really surprised to see that in the box that the brow pencil came in, there was a backup like refill of the brow pencil. And I'm shocked at the value that I just got with Tom Ford. You know, not what you would expect from a brand that sells $90 contour creams and $90 blushes, am I right? But this was a shocking discovery. So I have the 04 Espresso brow pencil. You can see this has a nice angle to it, which I know a lot of people like an angle because it helps to just quickly sculpt out your brow, especially if you are someone who doesn't have a lot of brow to begin with. I wish they had some more shades available in this brow pencil, but let's get into it. Let's see how this looks. And actually, I'm going to brush up my brows a bit more first because I could tell there's a little leftover e.l.f. brow wow from filming something prior to this. So they're going to look really rough for a minute. Brow pencil, let's dive in. Now, if you know me, you know that I usually like to do something or use a product that is a little bit finer as far as the tip of it goes. Like I love my brow pens, like the Maybelline Brow or Build-A-Brow from Maybelline. So this is something that I don't usually gravitate towards, but in honor of it being a full face of Tom Ford, of course, I had to grab it and try it out. The shade works really well. I do feel like I have to apply quite a bit of pressure to get payoff. Let me just kind of test and warm up that pencil. Has a very hard surface to it, or hard top layer. You know what I mean? Like we have to like kind of break through that top layer to get the product to really glide on smoothly. Not bad. This brown is definitely leaning more on the warm side than what I typically like for my brows. I don't like to see like a red tone in my brows. I want my brows to be more of like a cool or a neutral brown at least. So it's a little bit more warm for my personal preference, but it's getting the job done. It does, I just want to say this again, it does feel a little on the bulky side. It's a little bit of a bulky pencil, like the shape of it. Okay, so like once I warmed up that pencil, like I mentioned, it did glide on much easier, and the shade is definitely going to work. You know, I'm really, again, just shocked that they included a refill for this pencil. That does give you really good value, so that's awesome. Let's put this aside. Okay, so we also have a brow gel. This is the Tom Ford Eyebrow Laminator. So I have not tried this. Didn't even know that Tom Ford had a brow laminator or like a brow gel in general. So let's test this out. It is giving me, what's that one brand? Refi? Give me like Refi vibes because it has a white cast to it. Like it's a white tinted, it's not a tinted gel. It's a white gel, goes on white, dries clear, same as Refi. But I'm wondering if it's actually gonna have like that strong laminating hold that Refi does. And like a lot of the brow gels that I like have that strong, like really budge-proof hold. I'm wondering if this is gonna have the same thing because it doesn't feel like it does. And I have very, very stubborn, very fine, little wispy brow hairs that just don't want to do what I want them to do. So very curious to see how this is going to hold up and if it's going to actually give me a laminated effect. So what I'm doing is depositing most of the product that is built up at the tip of the wand, which I like to do for just more hold. and I'm brushing it upwards into the brows, just like that. Let's do some more on this side. Okay, actually I think it might have some hold. Brows look good. So brows look good. Now I want to just kind of make a little note about the primer. It's not ideal that I had to put a matte primer on for this look because the makeup look, I want it to be really soft and really glowy. And also, the biggest hurdle that I ran into with buying the full face of Tom Ford was the fact that they don't have a foundation in stock. I know that their original formula was really, really popular. It's discontinued. I know that there's talks of like a new one coming out, or that it's supposed to come out soon. Well, I didn't want to wait forever to film this video, so we're just going to film without it, of course, and not wait again for that new foundation or that reformulation to come out. So what I have for as far as complexion goes for Tom Ford is just the concealer. So with that said, it wasn't ideal that I had to, of course, apply the soft matte primer because the concealer that they have as an option is only a stick cream. And that combination, or this combination of the matte with also then a more full coverage cream, could be leaning thick and more heavy concealer. It might not be ideal. So full disclosure, what we're going to do is we're going to put some foundation on from another brand. I've done this with a couple other full face videos where I've had to fill in the missing pieces of what that brand is not, it doesn't have, or is something that they're lacking in their selection of products. So I was thinking Guerlain Terracotta would be a beautiful, beautiful foundation formula to go with Tom Ford. And it's also luxury, it's high-end, it just makes sense. So let's apply a little bit of the Guerlain Terracotta foundation. I wear the shade 2.5N. I'm gonna shake it up, pop some on my palette. Now let's get to work. Let's apply some of this beautiful foundation on top of the Tom Ford primer. And then we will put the concealer and the rest of the Tom Ford stuff on top, and it'll be like our little secret. Now this foundation normally goes on like a really smooth, slightly more glowy satin finish. Now it is going on quite matte because it's going on top of that primer that is obviously mattifying. So I'm getting a different finish than what I normally see with my Terracotta Guerlain foundation, but it's not bad. This foundation is beautiful either way. So just looking a little bit more matte than what I'm used to seeing it. This has just been such a favorite foundation of mine since I got it. It is so gorgeous on. It's incredibly long wearing. So, you know, if you want your foundation to look just as good morning till evening, this foundation is definitely worth the investment and worth checking out. It does have a little hint of fragrance, just a little FYI. I know I've mentioned that before, but again, a lot of luxury brands, higher end brands, they all contain, I mean, majority of them contain some form of fragrance. That is beautiful. Such a good shade match. I love this formula so much. I'm gonna pump out a teeny bit more. I just need a little bit more for my forehead. Let's check on these brows. They're actually laminated. I'm shocked. I am so shocked. I'm so happily, like pleasantly surprised that they are laminated, and it looks like they're gonna stay put and stay up and where I want them to be, and that is very exciting. Foundation is on. Now it's time for one of my all-time, well, if not my all-time favorite product from Tom Ford. Any guesses as to what it is? I'm sure if you're at home, you're guessing. It has to be the Shade and Illuminate bronzer. For me, I'm gonna wear the shade Intensity 1. It's the Shade and Illuminate. It's a contour and highlighting duo. And this is a fantastic, fantastic product. It's a product that just never leaves my pro kit. Never. Never ever. It's always in there, no matter what, rain or shine, no matter who I'm working on, this is in my kit. So look how beautiful. It's to take a moment to look at this beautiful new cream compact before I dive into it and I break down that first shiny, glossy layer. But let's do it, because you know what? We have to start sculpting and I need to warm up this complexion because I'm looking a little on the pasty side. Now I'm gonna start some sculpting, and I'm gonna grab my N14 brush with BK Beauty and dip into, of course, the bronzing shade. Just swipe back and forth, and we're gonna just place and then blend it. So I'm gonna dive right into warming up and sculpting my nose. And now switching back to my foundation brush, my N17, same brush I used to apply that Guerlain foundation, same side even. I'm gonna use a patting and a stippling motion to just stipple in this cream bronzer. This is gonna help to really melt it into my skin really quick and easily. Now I do wanna work a little bit faster because I am applying this on a matte base, and that's of course gonna dry down this product a lot quicker than it would if I was just applying this onto like a glowy foundation base. So I'm gonna work to push this into my skin and stipple it on. But even with that matte base and that matte primer that really did like fully mattify my face, and my texture, anything is gone on my face. It really did smooth and super duper mattify my skin. So even with that consistency that I have going on, it still blends out super quick and super easy, which is why this is just a really ideal product for me to use in my pro kit because it just works every time on all my clients. Dry, my oily clients, my mature clients, any skin type, any skin texture, it just works really, really well. So that's why it's just been such a must for me for so many years now. Definitely feeling more like myself. Got some really pretty warmth going on, some warmth and some sculpting. I'm going to switch to my N12 brush. Same product. I'm going to dip into the cream bronzer shade and just sculpt out my lips. Just like that. We're sculpted. We're ready to dive into concealer. I don't have the highest hopes for this concealer and the way that's going to apply to this more matte base like I mentioned previously. But let's try it out. Let's go for it. Let's create a look with this concealer. This is the Traceless Soft Matte Concealer. So this one's in the shade 3CO Tulle. So let's break it down. Let's actually warm it up on my hand. All right, it's actually a lot creamier than I was anticipating, which is great. I'm gonna grab a clean N12 brush, swipe into this concealer and see what kind of shade that we picked out and hope for the best. A lot of the shades that I was swatching when I was in store, actually picking out the products for this tutorial, they were looking really, really heavily on the warm golden side, but really leaning like just ultra yellow. So this is the only one that I could find in the realm of like my appropriate shade that didn't look super duper yellow against my skin. So I picked this one out, hoping for the best. So I'm cleaning up under the brows. I'm just kind of sculpting and getting a nice roadmap for when we do the eyeshadow. And now I'm just dipping directly into the product. It actually is a lot creamier than I was anticipating, so that's great. So sweeping it down. We're gonna use this as our eyeshadow base. So now that I've established like a nice clean definition under my brow, I'm gonna switch to a bigger brush, my N16, and start to work this fully onto my eyelid. And again, just to act like a nice eyeshadow base. It's gonna act like our primer, just like that. The shade looks great. I'm really happy with this. Really, really happy and relieved because now I can actually use this for other things. And it's not gonna be like a waste of money. There's nothing worse than, you know, picking out items, not really being able to test them out fully on your skin, and then just wasting the money. Granted, I could return it, but still, I don't wanna do that. Okay, that looks great. That looks great. Now I'm actually gonna leave the under eyes for after I'm done with my eyeshadow because I don't know what the fallout situation is gonna be and I don't wanna have to clean up or ruin my freshly applied concealer. So I'm gonna wait till after my eyeshadow is fully on to then go back and conceal my under eyes with the same concealer. So let's actually dive into the fun part, which is gonna be the eyes. Now to set this eyeshadow base, like this concealer, I do wanna set it with a little bit of powder because I don't wanna crease the eyeshadow on top. So I'm gonna just dip into a very small amount of my Givenchy Prism Lead powder in the shade 3 and the same brush and just pat this onto the oiliest part of my eyelids, which is like my actual mobile lid. Okay, time for what I think is gonna be the most fun, and that is gonna be the eyeshadow look. I struggled so much picking the quad that I wanted to buy for this full face of Tom Ford. I ended up choosing 03 Body Heat, but they were all beautiful, and Tom Ford does make some really beautiful eyeshadows, I have to say. Out of all the luxury, you know, prestige brands that are out there that have eyeshadows like Chanel, even YSL, Dior especially, I don't think Dior has the best eyeshadows, personal opinion. Tom Ford definitely has eyeshadows that are, they're a splurge. They're definitely insanely expensive for only 4 eyeshadows that you get in a palette. However, they do have some incredibly unique formulas that are really like outstanding. So, you know, if you're gonna spend a lot of money on an expensive, like high-end luxury eyeshadow palette, choose Tom Ford because at least you will be really, really happy with the formulas that you get. I promise you that. So Body Heat, this is the palette. I swatched it off camera. It is so gorgeous. I am so pumped for this makeup look. So here's what we're gonna do. Here's our plan. We're gonna start out with this light shimmery shade just all over. And I'm gonna grab my N13 brush. This is my blending brush. I'm gonna kind of flip it to the side, or lay it on the side, I should say, and pick up a lot of product. Just like that, okay? Ooh, yeah. That's pretty. That's gonna be really pretty. We're just gonna go for golden, shimmery, expensive eyes and just pack this all over. So pretty. Such a gorgeous formula. There's just something about the sheen that these shadows give you that is really unique. It's not something you can get at, like with an inexpensive brand. It's something that I feel like it must be a really expensive formula to make, because otherwise I feel like other people would be trying to copy this formula. Like ColourPop would be trying to copy this formula, or you know what I'm saying, like drugstore formulas or drugstore brands would try to be copying this formula. And I don't feel like this is it cannot be like an expensive formula to make and produce. And I think that's why no one's done it. No one's copied it, because it must be pretty pricey to do. There's just something really unique about it. I'm taking a little bit more on my fingertip. Oh, it's so pretty. I'm gonna sweep it out towards my temple. So pretty. Get right in there and start this other eye. Still just focusing on that one first shade and just applying it all over. Really seeing how beautiful this shadow is, uninterrupted, without anything else with it. I'm gonna sweep it out just like I did the other side. And then for a little more intensity, I'm gonna take a bit more with my fingertip and just pack it on the eyelid. Really fun, really pretty. It is not disappointing me at all. And then I'm gonna keep my N13 brush. Now for a little bit of depth and a little more dimension, I am gonna dip into this next shade right below it. It's a much deeper chocolatey brown, and just build up a teeny bit of intensity in the outer corner. This is basically the color of my shirt that I'm wearing right now. You'll really be able to see too, like, why I'm not applying that concealer first and then I'm doing my eyes first. I know I do the rest of my complexion, but that is totally fine. Nothing is going to harm the rest of the complexion as far as like eyeshadow fallout goes. But my concealer would be a wreck at this point if I had it down first. We have a really fun eyeliner that I've actually wanted to try for a long time now, and I just never ended up picking it up until now. So I'm very excited to have this. I've heard incredible things about this. This has really good reviews as well. It's the Eye Defining Pen. So it's a liquid liner. It's in the shade. They only have one shade. It's only the shade 01 Deeper. And there's two sides to this liquid pen. One is much shorter. I feel like it's probably a little bit more controllable. Yeah, so that's one side. And then this is the other side. Has a longer felt tip on this side. Now I'm gonna start actually with the shorter ends of the pen. And let's map this out. Now this end is definitely giving me really great, like very precise control, which is ideal if you're ever gonna apply liquid liner in the inner part of your eye, which is very difficult. Switch to this side. Okay, now that the wing is done and we can breathe, we can all breathe again. That was very stressful, but I have to say, both sides of this pen are equally amazing, and they both give you like great stability. One's just a little bit shorter and a little bit more stiff. So whatever side you prefer, honestly, I can't imagine either side being hard. They're actually really both good, like stable sides for a liquid liner. We're gonna get into mascara. We have a mascara that I've never tried. It's the Extreme Mascara from Tomford. That is the wand. Let me kind of warm this up and work it out. Let me kind of warm up this formula and kind of bring some life to it. All right, mascara time it is. Honestly, I have not heard one thing about Tomford mascara in my life, so I'm not sure what the expectation is. I have no expectation basically going into this. Okay, the wand is a little big. I already got my cheek with it. Kind of just lift this up really quick. Yeah, the wand is a little on the bulky side, I will say that. Formula doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot at all. And also I'm really kind of scared to get in there and fully like coat my lashes because the wand is so big. I don't want to get any more in places I don't want this mascara. So it's a little nerve-wracking to apply with this really big wand. Yeah, I just got some on my nose now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting a whole lot from this. Okay, mascara is not something I would recommend you go out and purchase. I just want to you know, there's so many incredible mascaras that you see me use on my channel all the time. I just would not really recommend that one, just to be fully honest with you. But I would recommend popping some lashes on to make up for this lacking in the lash department that we have going on right now. So I'm gonna use some of my favorite lashes. These are from Velour. I talk about these all the time. I love these trio lashes. They're wispy, they're soft, they look gorgeous on, and they are just an amazing trio lash. So I'm gonna take my MAC tweezers. I'm not gonna go too heavy or too crazy with these. I'm not gonna apply like that many, I should say. Let's do 2 of the medium lengths on each end. Gonna use my Velour lash glue as well. Pop these on the outer corner. Much better. Let's grab one of the short length ones too on this side. Nice. I love these. They're so good for a special occasion, so good for a night out, so great for pictures too. And they're really, really comfortable, which is like probably my favorite part of these. Much better. I mean, not that the mascara was that bad, it just, with the price point of Tom Ford, it was not giving what it should give. You know what I mean? So I just feel like I need to make up for it. And I just want to need more lashes for this look. There we go. They're just so good. They're so beautiful. I'll link them below. Okay, lashes are done. The bottom lash line is gonna be smoky and sultry and all those things. So let's finally dive into that concealer. Let's go back to that concealer in Tulle and apply this on the bottom of my eyes. So I'm gonna go straight in, which I never really do. Let's see what kind of coverage this is gonna give for my very dark circles under my eyes. So it's going on nice and creamy. It's not feeling too dry on my skin. I want to apply a little bit to highlight on top of my chin. Let's do a bit in the center of my forehead. All the usual spots. Let's see how this actually performs. Let's do some straight down the bridge of my nose. All right. I'm going to go back to my N16 brush and blend this out. And let's see how this performs. It's actually blending out really nice. Really nice. And you know, I have heard good things about this concealer from Tom Ford. I've heard it be compared to the very famous Clé de Peau cream like stick concealer that's in like the same kind of component, but I actually feel like this is going on a little bit creamier than that one. That one is a very, very thick, very full coverage concealer, also very pricey as well. I do like it though. It's a really unique concealer. I'm not someone who uses thick cream concealers under their eyes. I just feel like the coverage is usually a little too thick looking, and the feeling of it, the overall finish of it, I should say, is too thick looking under the eyes, where we have so much movement throughout the day and we tend to crease a lot, of course, under the eyes. I have a ton of little fine lines under my eyes right here, and I just find that cream concealers, as opposed to like liquid formula concealers, just look really, really heavy, especially under like anyone over the age of like 25 or 20. But this shade I am so happy with. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for picking out the right shade for myself. Really, really happy with that shade. It's not too yellow. It's looking really good under my eyes. Coverage is good. It's definitely covering my dark circles. Now I'm gonna go back to my N17 and just blend out any other areas that might need some like melting together. And actually I'm gonna go into a teeny bit more of the cream bronzer shade. I just want a little bit more on my forehead. All right, it is time to set my under eyes, and very anxious to see how this cream concealer is going to look once I set it with some powder. I am going to go back to that same Givenchy Prism Leaf powder in the shade 3. I'm going to first spill it all over my lap, and then I'm going to grab a clean N14 brush, dip into the cap, and let's set this under eye. Okay, looks good. I still feel like it looks a lot heavier than versus a liquid concealer that I would typically use under my eyes. It's not bad, it just has a heavier look to it. I imagine this would be a great concealer for like spot concealing, even like quick foundation, like on the go, if you just kind of swiped a few swipes and then blended it out because it is a full coverage. I imagine it'd be really good for that type of concealing and use. But under the eyes, I'm just not a fan of cream thick concealers under the eyes. Just my personal preference. I just think they're way too heavy, but you know, we're gonna do it, we're gonna make it work. Okay, now the under eyes are set. I have a blush that I picked up and bought when I did a huge blush haul on my channel. I think at this point, like well over a year ago. So I did not want to buy a whole new one for this video. So I pulled out my Tom Ford blush that I picked up a long time ago now. It's a $90 blush, like I mentioned earlier. So I didn't want to go out and buy a whole nother one for the sake of this video because I've already bought it once. I don't need another $90 Tom Ford blush. So needless to say, I was gonna just save some money where I could because this was pricey, let me tell you. So I'm gonna use the Shade and Illuminate blush. It's the Powder Blush Duo in the shade 05 Sun Drunk. I do love the shade. I think it's beautiful, and let's get into this blush. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my N17. I'm gonna flip it over to the dark fiber side, and we're gonna do some powder blushing. And I'm gonna dip into both shades, kind of mix the two, and let's get our blush on. This is definitely leaning into a more matte complexion, shimmery eye look, but I'm gonna bring some life and some glow back in just a bit, don't you worry. Because we have lots of element of glow that are coming up. Swipe a little bit onto the nose, and blush is on. Very matte, very beautiful shade. Either one in this duo is really, really pretty on, I have to say. But $90 is a lot for one blush. I just gotta talk about that one more time. It's a lot. Let's talk about this little $90 bronzer, powder bronzer, okay? Now it's funny because I actually bought this online. It was one of my like few online products that I picked up for Tom Ford. that I just had forgotten to buy in store. Actually, no, they didn't even have this in store, so that's actually why I didn't pick it up. So this looked like it was so much bigger on the website, and I thought, oh wow, it's like a nice size bronzer. If you know, you know. Like I'll try, like maybe I'll insert a photo of what it looked like on the actual Sephora website. It looks so much bigger, so deceiving. So when I got it, I thought, oh, this is a cute little, like, what did I get? Maybe it was like a little, maybe I did pick up a blush. I was so confused, and I opened it and I realized, oh, this was the bronzer. It's tiny. Like for $90, it's tiny, little. So let's set that cream bronzer with the powder bronzer. This is the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in the shade 02 Terra. I'm gonna grab my N15 powder brush, dip into Terra, and let's see. I'm not sure why it's called a glow bronzer. It's definitely not glowy. Why is this called a glow bronzer? I mean, it's not flat, I will say that, but it's not glowy. Let's do a little sweepy sweep under my nose. I don't want to add any more to my cheeks. Just a little on the jawline. Okay, a little underwhelming, I have to say. Definitely a little underwhelming, to say the least. Now, I have another product that I have purchased a long time ago. I actually purchased this, as speaking of like old videos, I purchased the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Highlighting Duo in the shade Moonlight for my full-on I bought every single highlighter that is sold at Sephora video a little while back as well. If you know, if you caught it, leave me a comment, let me know. But if you also saw that video, you know that my review of this was nothing short of like underwhelming. I was not very impressed with it. However, I've changed my mind. I've talked about this quite a few times, but I wasn't impressed by it. And then I thought, you know what, this is so much money. It was $90. Everything at Tom Ford is $90 apparently. So I put this in my pro kit, and I've been using it on my clients for the past, I don't know, for a while now, at least 6 months. And it's actually stunning. So I'm eating my words. I've been eating my words for a while now, because it is in fact quite literally stunning. This shade in particular, the more rosy shade on the bottom, not so much the golden lighter shade. This one on the bottom is quite magical. You can see I've definitely been getting my use out of it. I'm gonna grab a clean N17 and use the dark fiber side of it and sweep into a lot of this, because we need to bring some glow and some complexity to this makeup look. My skin just feels really dry. It feels definitely very matte. So let's add some Tom Ford glow to this look. This is quite a stunning highlighter, and it was just one of those highlighters that I just didn't see the magic of it until I really got to work with it, until I really like thoroughly tested it out on just tons of different makeup looks, tons of different skin types. But first impression was it just was very underwhelming. But it was one of those products that you just really need to like dive into and like almost like break in. You know what I mean? Like it's like a brand new makeup brush. They're great at first, but once you like really break in those makeup brushes, once you like really like get them broken into, right? It's like a new pair of shoes. Then they start being even more magical. So it's the same thing with this highlighter. There was something about once it was used a couple times, I start to really see how magical it is. Because look at that. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. I'm going to take a little bit and we're going to do something we rarely do on this channel, and that is highlight the Cupid's bow. Let's do a little bit on the top of the chin. Let's get some glow back in life. Grabbing a clean N16, I'm going to sweep into it one more time, and I'm going to hit the top of the bridge of my nose and then the actual top of my nose. N12 brush, same highlighter. We're going to really highlight and get our glow on in this inner part of our tear duct. We're going for like editorial glow with this look. Full on, super glowy. But wait, there's more. There's more glow to be had. This highlighter, I've talked about this a couple times, is such an underrated cream highlighter that is in existence. I feel like it's not talked about. It doesn't get shown as much love as the cream bronzer side of this compact. But let me tell you, it is equally magical, and it's something that I rely on and use on set on a constant basis. So I'm gonna actually use my fingertip for this product and dive into it. And I'm gonna layer, it's one of my favorite tricks and like all my makeup tricks is to layer this on top of my either powder highlighters or no highlighter on at all, and just use this as like a straight creamy highlighter. But this brings such life back to dry skin or skin that has just maybe too much powder on it or just needs like a little extra vibrancy to it. It is just gorgeous. Now, of course, I'm not going to skip out on my bottom lash line now that my under eye concealer is set with powder. We're going to go back to Body Heat, the eyeshadow palette, and my N12 brush. I'm going to dip into first that smoky brown shade, and we're going to start some shading and defining. Same brush, I'm going to dip into this beautiful, more like a warm burgundy shade. This is so beautiful. I'm going to layer this on top of that first bottom shade. To start to complete this look, there are a few things I was missing from just Tom Ford in general, and that is lip liner. So I'm going to be adding Nude Truffle. Talk about like throwing something inexpensive into this extremely expensive tutorial. Nude Truffle is such a hit and it is so inexpensive. It's from NYX. If you know, you know. It's just a great nude lip liner that goes with anything. So I'm going to line my lips and then we'll get into one of the beautiful lip colors I picked for this full face. So liner first. Can't go wrong. Now, I want to show you the shades I did pick up for this video. One of them was Spanish Pink, which is one of the most gorgeous, and honestly, it's a very iconic shade for Tom Ford. If you know, you know, it's been around for a long time. It is a stunning, beautiful, nude pink lipstick. It is just, it's a showstopper. But I think I want to go for one of the liquid lipsticks just to kind of do something more unexpected, and both of these are gorgeous. You know what, let's do something that's a little bit more unexpected, and that is a liquid lipstick. These look so beautiful. I've heard great things about this formula also, so I'm very anxious to try this. I've already tried my Tom Ford Spanish Pink, so I want to try something a little bit new. So let me just swatch these first, and then we'll just kind of compare the two. I'm leaning towards this one for this eye makeup look, but this one is also gorgeous. It's the shade 123 Devoted. Let's do a little swatch. Wow. I mean, is that not just, it's more fall. I'll definitely say this more for like a fall makeup look. It's not the vibe right now for spring, which is where we're in right now, but this is gorgeous. That is a stunning shade. I love the packaging. Such a sucker for a nice packaged lipstick in any kind of formula. And then the other shade that I think I'm going to be putting on is the shade 121 Lark. So let's just compare the two. Yeah, let's go for Lark. It's gonna go with this whole color story. It's gonna go with the vibe of this makeup look. So let's apply Lark. Wow, nice formula. Very thin consistency, not like a heavy kind of goopy liquid lipstick that, you know, there's a lot of those on the market that don't feel nice on your lips, especially if you're wearing them all day. This one feels very thin and very nice. And so far it's gliding on nice and easy. Very opaque, stunning shade. This is a gorgeous shade. Definitely fits the vibe of this makeup look. Wow. You will for sure see me wearing Lark more often. This is so pretty. That's a showstopper. That is gorgeous. But wait, there's more, because I have this grand idea in my head to top this liquid lipstick with a gloss. And this Tom Ford gloss looks so gorgeous. This is a shade 09 Aura, and it is just, it's so pretty. It's gonna add a little bit of like a lightness to the center, kind of brighten this lip up a bit, soften it a little bit is what I should say. But can we talk about this packaging? Like, that is hefty. It is like bulky, is expensive. It feels like pure Tom Ford luxury. All right, Aura, let's see what you got. I like that applicator, that is nice. It's a nice gloss. Not much else to say. It's a really nice gloss, really beautiful color. I can't wait to actually put this on with just a lip liner or a lighter lipstick and see what it actually looks like without the dark base underneath. But the combination of Lark with Aura, exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. So love that, and I love that it paired really well with my Nude Truffle. So I want to add just a touch more of something to my bottom lash line and the waterline. It's just missing a little something in my opinion. So I'm going to add Cocoa from Sephora. So the 12-hour eyeliner pencils. These are also really inexpensive. Help to balance out that Tom Ford price tag. So I'm going to run this on the bottom lash line just to complete this eye makeup look. Yeah, I needed that. Cocoa, if you know, you know. And if you don't, you're missing out on a really great liner that's super inexpensive. I love Cocoa so much. Let me wipe off this lipstick. I'm gonna top my lashes with one more coat of mascara, but before I do, I'm gonna do one round of setting spray. Tom Ford does not have a setting spray, at least to my knowledge. So I'm gonna spray my skin and set my makeup in place with the Milani Make It Last setting spray. Another, again, very affordable option. That soak in. Final coat of mascara, just a little bit, a touch on the bottom. And that completes this full face of Tom Ford Beauty. So that's a look. It is super glam. I hope you enjoyed it. This is like going out, evening out type makeup look. Very sultry, very smoky. Leave me a comment, let me know what your thoughts are. And quickly, I want to just run through a couple of products I don't think are worth the hefty Tom Ford price tag. The Traceless Soft Matte Primer, unless you have really, really oily skin, I don't think this is a product that is really worth the investment, to be fully honest with you. But again, unless you have really oily skin and you want like a total mattification going on, this primer is nice for that, but not great for any other skin type, in my opinion. So don't really recommend that one. I also don't recommend the mascara. I don't think this is worth the price tag at all. It just didn't do much, to say the least. So didn't love that. I also didn't really love the concealer. It's fine. It's nice. It concealed. I'm anxious to see how this is going to wear throughout the day, so I'll have to keep you posted on my thoughts on that. But otherwise, I didn't think this was the best concealer formula on the market. Everything else was beautiful. Everything else was a hit. A huge hit to me was this liquid liner. Of course, the eyeshadow palette, showstopper, absolutely stunning. I always recommend the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminates. These are incredible products, like incredible and definitely worth the money. The blush is beautiful, but you know my thoughts on that already. And if you want to treat yourself to some really beautiful and fantastic lipstick formulas, both liquid and regular formula, these are definitely worth checking out. They're beautiful. The shades are exceptional. Check these out if you want to treat yourself a moment. And that is it. That is the full face of Tom Ford. It's sultry, it's glam, it's all those things. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you like this video. Tell me in the comments also, what brand do you want to see a full face of next? Subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to have you, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.